Dear Chinese friends, good morning or good evening. I hope you are well, and I am very happy to be in contact, although in this technological way, with you. We are in a situation of very severe contagion here in Europe, and particularly in this moment here in northern Italy. It's a second wave of something we already experienced in March and April. What I am interested into is the fact that, unfortunately, with the spreading preoccupation for the virus, there is also a potential of psychic contagion, psychic infection. That is, we transmit not only a physical illness, but also our worries, our exaggerated worries, which sometimes are so exaggerated that we can call them paranoid. And as you might remember, I have studied paranoia, which is the preoccupation, the constant preoccupation for enemies, which, unfortunately, corresponds to a lack of psychology. When we are not looking inside at personal roots, causes of whatever we might do wrong, we start projecting that, and we look for other people responsible for whatever there is wrong, whatever is, quotes, evil outside. We have difficulties when we are not enough psychological to look inside, and we do like this with the finger. We look for enemies. This is what we call paranoia, an oversimplification of the psychic dynamics, by which we always are worried about somebody who is responsible, let's say, in a family, is your wife or husband, your children, etc., or in society, politically, it's another group, enemies, or among nations. And in this way, we very often start unnecessary wars, be them wars outside with weapons, be it also wars in the family. We tend to be a little bit paranoid every day. It's also normal, of course, to quarrel and to say, oh no, it's my wife, oh no, it's my children who are responsible. But then usually next day we understand, we say we are sorry. In the political realm, of course, it's more difficult. Now, what is interesting is that our psyche requires the enemies to be personified. For instance, in the dreams, we usually mostly dream about other human figures. So the bad or good figure is a human figure. And so whenever there is something wrong, we tend to look for somebody responsible for it. And unfortunately, this time, it's not a human, it's a virus. We should not become paranoid. This is really very, very dangerous. We start saying, yes, it's a virus, but this organization has been this health organization has been spreading wrong informations, or this country, and so on. You might even understand the fact that I am hinting to some guy in another country who is always thinking that there are people responsible even for the virus circulating among different continents. This is very, very dangerous, because once you start personalizing, as I said, this can become gradually the roots of political confrontation, and then in the end even a war. I had a very similar experience years ago here in Italy and in Europe, because we had a wave of terroristic attacks, Islamic fundamentalism, which somehow went to very, very extreme positions. Of course, Islam is a religion like other religions, and in itself it has nothing more destructive than Christian or Buddhist religion, but some fanatics were attacking people. So, because I am considered a specialist of paranoia, I was often, that was 4 or 5 years ago, invited to round tables or some television discussion about this topic. And there were people saying, since, I don't know, the last year or last month, when I heard that there are terrorist attacks, I don't go out anymore because I am afraid of terrorist attacks. And then I used to ask, did you look at the European official statistics, the database? You know, the European Union has very exact statistics where you can look how many terrorist attacks there have been in the different countries. And usually people said, no, I didn't. It's interesting. And how many are those terrorist attacks in Italy? And I had to say, well, they have been bad in France, but in Italy, 0. So maybe there is a bit of paranoia, you know. And then I asked, for instance, speaking of European database, did you look at the European database about air pollution, you know? How many people die because of pollution of the air in Europe, which is the continent where we spend more and we have more provisions to fight air pollution. And people would say, no, I didn't look. That's interesting. I will look at that too. And I said, well, have a look, because the European Environmental Agency publishes statistics, and they say that about 450,000 people approximately die every year in the European Union because of the bad quality of air, and some 84,000 every year in Italy. So I would sum up saying, I think you are right, you know, when you don't go out. But you don't go out because there is a bad enemy. It's called pollution, you know. The point is that with pollution, like with the virus, we cannot do like this with the finger and point to a specific enemy, because we are all a bit responsible for pollution, because, for instance, the government says, well, try to use as little as possible your car because there is already too much pollution, but then we use it anyhow. Or the heating, we receive recommendation and we still turn the heating a little too much on. And so our finger, if we are a bit psychological and critical, should do like this, and we should ask ourselves to what extent we can be responsible for bad things happening, and by doing this we would help ourselves, our psychological refinement, and at the same time we would help the whole of society. Thank you very much.